You are?
Hi.
There he is. What's up, son?
Marbles.
Marbles. We've lost our marbles.
We've lost our marbles. We've assembled a couple of things lately that have had interestingly translated directions, and one of them said something about using your marbles.
It's a tight. It's a keyboard stand, and it said "tighten up using marbles." Folks, Google Translate can be very, very helpful. It can also be very, very bizarre.
Well, it's important to realize, and this is definitely a sidebar.
That's okay. Take
It's
the sidebar.
important to realize that that you're not just translating a language, you're translating a culture.
Yes.
And our culture very much we just do not realize how much our culture comes out in our language.
Oh.
And oh yeah, Angie is reading I don't remember if she's in Latin American anyway. She's reading world literature,
Yeah.
so it's from Asia and Africa and Latin America, and she's really seeing how different the thought processes are. But Google Translate translates words.
Yes.
It translates grammar. It does understand grammar and all of that, but it does not translate context from one culture to another. And the more different your culture is, the more wonky your translation is going to be. So, like,
Yes.
Oriental cultures are extraordinarily different from English-speaking cultures. And so the context of the translation is going to be very, very, very different. So
Yes. Well, and there's a lot of things that we use that have, languages don't have a one-to-one alignment, and this is relevant for biblical truth as well.
yes,
They don't have a one-to-one alignment where this word always means this word in another language. The only times that is true is it is either a very small particle type word. This word, and even that from biblical Greek, from Koine Greek to English, and doesn't always mean and. I mean, there are times that it means but or. But and in itself as a word has a variety of usages in colloquial English. Bob and Dave went to the store. This was what was happening in my life that day, and I mean, there's that type of thing. But so a word may line up perfectly. Okay, well, this is one definition of this word, but that does not mean it's not how you use it in that time. And so it's one of the songs from Hamilton the musical, big deal right now. But the idea, I'm not throwing away my shot.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that eventually comes around in Hamilton to Alexander Hamilton gets shot. But if you looked at LeBron James in the NBA Finals this week and told him this was his shot at another championship, so he should make sure he doesn't miss his shots, and that therefore he shouldn't spend all night out, and I don't think LeBron does spend all night out doing shots.
But he shouldn't.
But he shouldn't,
that
so
will
he
make
doesn't
him miss his shots,
shot.
and therefore miss his shot.
And he absolutely should not spend time, out on the firing range just in case he would accidentally get shot. So, I mean, that's the same word.
Just in case somebody else missed their shot.
Missed their shot and and hit him in the foot, and that would be bad. He would quite literally have shot himself in the foot.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
hey, I mean, there's
there you go.
So you've got all of that, and so therefore some of the stuff that comes in that's made in China, and the instructions were written in Chinese, and then they were translated by somebody whose English skills were entirely book, or
they used Google Translate.
They used Google Translate or the Chinese knockoff of Google.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal. That's why language learning takes more than just a book and otherwise you end up with you might end up with skills to say things that our old joke about Duolingo, which is a great app.
Oh,
Learn all kinds of things Duolingo, but one of the phrases in Duolingo was my cow needs a bought a new hat. Yeah, so it became a song in our house about the cow that got the new hat. It's rarely going to be language that you use, but and even then you learn it textbook, and then you go to Peru, and it's like, okay, I have no idea what you people are talking about because there's local idioms and whatever else. So anyway, that's a little side note, but it's relevant.
It is
Yeah.
relevant. It is relevant. Well, and it's, I think, maybe it ties into our discussion of training with education. You know, we talked yesterday. Education is our topic today, right?
Sure,
I don't remember.
supposed to be work.
Oh, it's supposed to be work.
I wrote down education.
Well, can we tie it into work? Let's see.
Can make that connection in 2 steps.
Oh yeah, we're skilled like that. So let's see. Okay, so how does it tie into work? Well, okay. Any occupation has its own language.
I was gonna say, yeah. Now you're to occupation lingo and internal jargon.
And so as we're going into whether it's, straight out of college going to your first job or changing jobs at any point in our life or anything like that, there is a training process, and a lot of times we expect to learn things very, very, very quickly. We expect to learn and be done. We expect to go in, be trained on our job, and be ready to go. And I think the training process has to include the recognition that there is a culture and a matter of lingo and all of that we have to absorb over time. We can't really we can't even be taught it. We can't go in and have somebody say, okay, here's the vocabulary you need to work on for this job. It's got to kind of seep in. You've got to kind of learn and explore it, and that's training that takes time and discipline.
That's an on the job training kind of thing, and some of it you do learn from, you can learn it. We'll throw back to when I was at UPS. We had 4 days of classroom training when we first started, and you can learn some of the lingo there. But honestly, the way that if you were going to, UPS had a training manual. It was a 3-ring binder that was this thick, and this is why I kept getting in trouble whenever I had to fill in to teach the class, because I would read the script and go, this is stupid. Half of this is useless.
Doesn't make sense. It doesn't work.
And half of this is useless, and y'all just gonna get bored with me sitting here reading this to you. It just didn't work, and so we deviate from the script and go through some of the lingo, some of the practice, the parlance, and such that you would encounter, and some of it is even at this point you go, I don't even remember what it was.
Yeah.
Now
because
that I'm not
then
in
you
it,
put it into practice, and it
Yeah.
became it became a part of your day without thinking about it.
and so those are the things that and this is true in any workforce, but it's also in a way it's how some people get in essence kind of a leg up on what's going on at work. If you walk in and the lingo that is used is familiar enough to you, and you see that. For example, I think one good example of that would be sports metaphors. If we went to England and went to work, and they started using soccer and cricket references,
Except they would call it football.
they'd call it football.
And so we would be sitting here going, that doesn't sound like football at all.
But if we sit there, but then we turn around and go, oh man, this looks like 4th and long. Yeah, and as Hog fans, man, this looks like 4th and 25. I think we're going to need a Henry Heave here. I mean that's a lingo, that's a slang that certain people, if you know how football works, and 4th and long is desperate, then hey, we're in a 4th and long situation. Okay, we know what we need to do. 4th and long, Panama. That's.
That is kind of switching mixing metaphors
that mixes
there,
your
dear.
metaphors. You know that, but if somebody has been European football, soccer the whole time, they're going, what the heck is a 4th and long?
Right.
Yeah, we thought we were in Panama, but anyway, so that kind of thing, and it takes time to pick those
Right.
those lingos up, and if you are in leadership, it's important to give people that time.
Yes, it very much is. It's important to Well, and that's the flip side of the training process. You know, how much I think the trainer and the leaders have to look at it and they have to have the wisdom to know, okay, is this somebody who just needs a little more time to get this? Or is this somebody who's either not willing to learn or not able to learn? But you need wisdom among the leadership to recognize that the learning process is a process that takes time.
Oh.
Just like training children, just like training ourselves, just like developing those disciplines and then solidifying them. You know, you can learn something, but Stephen was talking. Stephen, can I use you in your guitaring? He was talking yesterday about a chord that he's known for a while, but now the muscle memory clicked. He's been playing that chord for a while now, but he has had to make his fingers go to that chord. But then there comes a point where your fingers just do it. You know that chord's coming, and your fingers just do it on their own. And he hit that point on this particular chord. And so I think in training, both for the trainers and the trainees, there's the realization that you can learn something, but then it has to become natural and has to flow into that.
And that takes a process. That's a long-term process, and it also requires in your workspace, if you have any level of turnover, you need to be aware of the hamstringing that you may be doing to somebody because they're not aware when they walk in the door that they don't get the shorthand. Waffle House is a great example of this, in that the Waffle House. And I mean, it's just kind of funny, or any of the old cafes. I'm actually thinking of the Emperor's New Groove, where the waitress goes into the kitchen and calls out an order. And then he calls it back, and it's actually meant to kind of mock the diner, cafe, Waffle House scene of referring to everything
in local slang.
In local slang, and it's like, okay, that's all well and good. What happens to the new cook when you say, hey, I need this, and keep it running? Go watch the Food Network and watch some of the backstage, the kitchen videos. Hey, I need this, and I need it. I need a steak on the run. Well, what does that even mean? If you haven't been around, you don't know. And this is why, give me 2 mashed potato sides on the fly, or anything like, if you, this is why a lot of things do have a long-term build-in. And it matters that you do that, so that you learn the lingo, so that you learn the shorthand, so that you learn the patterns, and you can't be so bound by those patterns that you can't accomplish things. But you've got to be able to do that. But you've got to have that open. Okay, this is what we're talking about. And so that you have that shared experience. So yeah, all right, good turn.
One more statement of we've got to remember to be patient with those when we're so entrenched in the lingo and the culture. A lot of times we don't recognize what is not natural.
That's true.
And so it's important for us to always be patient with others who have not been immersed in the lingo and in the culture, and it's a good idea sometimes to see through their eyes. That's something we're doing. Work right now. We've got a few people who are outside the homeschool community, and so sending to them some of our stuff. Hey, does this make sense to somebody who knows nothing about homeschooling? And we've gotten some great feedback about, I don't know what this, and this means. Oh, we wouldn't have. So
and that's and that's important. The other and a side part of that's important is to realize that we also bring our outside culture into work.
Oh yes, yes.
And this is where, again, like with football or with other things, and it can be, it can be troublesome because in your home culture, and everybody's got slight differences in culture based on how they were raised, ethnicity. All of those things weigh in. Men and women. Men talk differently among men than women talk among women a lot of times.
This is a point that comes up in Stephen's Bible this year, is give your family history, because that, let's learn your story, because you can't really understand how you interpret Scripture until you know your own story.
So-
So it's
So as that comes in, you know, there are certain things that and like the jokes earlier today about Panama. That's part. It's part
That's
of the
part of
movie
our
that
family
our
culture.
family that we've enjoyed, and it basically refers to the idea of if something's going wrong, when in doubt, just blow
Blow
up
it up.
everything. And so I could sit at something, and we could sit at something planning at church, or and I could say, oh man, we just need to, pull a Panama with this, or I could call home from work and just in that short phrase. But that's something I've carried in. If I run across somebody else who loves the same movie, they would also pick up on it. But that would mean we could talk about that without other people knowing what's going on.
Right.
Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not good. So you carry that in, and then you just see it in a certain way. And sometimes folks, another one, and I know we need to stop, but
this is fun,
Yeah,
fun topic.
I'll run up on people and talk about, oh, these people are they're just sermonizing. I'm going, actually, I do a lot of sermoning. I do a lot of preaching, and that's nothing
That's
like
not
what
a
I
sermon.
do, at all. It's just, but yeah, that's your insider and outsider. Asking those questions of other people. Can you help us see this clearly, so that we know, hey, have we done this? Have we done this right? Done this well?
Yep.
So, okay. Sounds good. We should wrap it up.
We should stop while we're at the stopping point now. Instead of one more thought.
Just one more question.
Just one more. I can keep going. Okay, we are on 122. All right, Psalm
That
122, a song of ascents. Oh, this one's of David.
Maybe.
Wait, we do have a couple of. I forget that some of the songs of ascent are of David. Looks like there are two of them. Nope, three.
Three.
Now I'm curious. Four.
Four.
So
Take
there are
your
four.
eyeball.
Four, one of Solomon. All right. I rejoiced with those who said to me, let us go to the house of the Lord. Our feet were standing within your gates, Jerusalem. Jerusalem, built as a city should be, solidly united, where the tribes, the Lord's tribes, go up to give thanks to the name of the Lord. This is an ordinance for Israel. There thrones for judgment are placed, thrones of the house of David. Pray for the well-being of Jerusalem. May those who love you be secure. May there be peace within your walls, security within your fortresses. Because of my brothers and friends, I will say, may peace be in you. Because of the house of the Lord our God, I will pursue your prosperity.
Nice.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for today. Thank you for the sunshine. Thank you for the blessing of being alive. I pray that as we head out into our day and into the things that are before us, that you will help us to learn and grow and be aware of the things we need to learn and to do them well. Pray that you will strengthen us in our